Today I'm going to share the story of, I'm going to say, my first major relationship breakup, if that's what you consider it. I was entering my 7th grade year, and I was walking to, I was getting into my new science class. That's what it is, it was science class. 7th period, end of the day, I was ready to go home. I didn't care. Everything was garbage that day. But that's when I met one of my best friends, Yazzie, and another guy. But I had started to develop feelings for this guy over the course of that year. And maybe I'm going to say middle of that year, I told my friends at the lunch table. Most of them already knew, but one didn't in particular. The girl who had that science class with us. Another girl named Rachel. And I told everyone at the table, and he was a few tables away. I noticed because I kept staring at him. Like, enamored staring. My friend Rachel walked over. I took the tray and I ran. I grabbed my binder, I grabbed my tray, I grabbed everything and I ran. I didn't want to face the heartbreak and the shame again. Because guys don't normally like me. Or the guys I like anyways never really liked me. Any of them. And I had science class with him a few periods after my 6th period drama class. So after that, I sat right across from him. And he asked me, "So you and Rachel were talking at lunch?" And I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "What'd you say?" I told him nothing. And he's like, "Yes, it was something." And I said, "Nothing." And that dropped the situation, or so I thought. I asked the teacher if I could go to the bathroom, and I did, and I went, and I came back. And class ended. I picked up my binder, and a note fell out. And it said, "Don't worry about it. Rachel told me everything. The feeling is mutual." And me being me, I didn't know what that meant. The feeling that I was worried, or the love confession thing, I didn't know. But we spent the rest of that year as friends. Really good friends. And then February, a few weeks before Valentine's Day, 8th grade year. We'd gotten along pretty well. Me still having a massive crush on this dude. Me thinking that I was still hiding it, even though I wasn't. I was talking to him, or like texting, and I brought up the note from 7th grade, and he's like, I remember saying, "What did that mean?" And he's like, "The feeling is mutual. It means I have a crush on you." And I'm like, "Oh." And he said, "As in, right now." And I was so happy. Someone I liked finally liked me back. That didn't last long, though. I remember it was I think it was a Friday. I kissed him on the cheek that day. And I was so happy. And we were talking, and he said it was a nice surprise. It was a welcome surprise. And I was making ramen in the kitchen. When my phone went off, or my text tone anyways. And I looked at it, and it was this long text from his mother, basically saying that I should stop talking to her son, because I was distracting him from his studies or whatever, some other thing I don't remember. I remember eating my noodles when my dad walked in the door, and I was feeling heartbroken and I wanted to cry, but I didn't. I smiled and greeted my dad, and then he walked downstairs, and I sat in the kitchen, silently crying, while eating noodles. The next day, on Monday when I went back to school, I didn't say anything to anyone. I just showed them the message. Julie and Sage, first period in drama class, and Yasmin during lunch, I think. Maybe, I don't remember when I showed her. And I remember eating my lunch and just I didn't want to eat. I didn't feel like eating, but it was something to distract myself from crying a lot. I remember throwing my tray away of the food I didn't eat and walking back to the table where my friends were. And I sat down in my usual spot, and Nick was at his usual spot a few meters away from me. I looked at him and we made eye contact, and I looked away. He could obviously tell something was wrong, so he walked over and asked what was wrong, if there was anything wrong. I gave my phone to my friend Sage, and she showed him the message. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I walked away. I took my phone from his hands and walked away. With a smile on my face, because I knew being sad and showing emotion would make it, like, 16 times worse. And I still bottle those emotions up. And now every time I see a picture of him, or I talk to him, or I see him in public, I can't help but cry a little on the inside. Some people tell you life happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And you shouldn't go digging up those reasons if it's too painful. You don't want to go down the long, winding path of truth. Goodbye.